In the far future of the galaxy, the noble race of humanity went forth and spread across the stars. Legends are told of the time where, led by none other than their lord and savior Spaceking, praise be his name, it managed to carve out a glorious galactic empire for itself. In the aftermath of this glorious conquest, thousands of other planets have been colonized. To this very day, these worlds can proudly be called home by the humans living there. Countless species of alien were driven back before the indomitable march of humanity to conquer the stars. In the cold and dark void, predators of all kinds are biding their time. These abominations are not made in Spaceking's image. Because of this, they live a wicked and brutal existence, jealous and spiteful of the glory of mankind. Lurking in the shadows, these creatures are waiting and brooding on humanity's downfall. One day, for reasons unknown to us mere mortals, Spaceking vanished. In the absence of his majestic light, an age of darkness and ignorance washed over humanity. Over the many ages, different and often conflicting theories sprang up to try and explain the mysterious ways of Spaceking. Where could the master of mankind be? Is Spaceking on an intergalactic errand to get milk? A wide range of esoteric creeds are dedicated to answer this question. But the tragic reality remains that nobody knows his whereabouts or the true reason for his disappearance for certain. In the absence of this mighty galactic ruler, the alien abominations finally dared crawl forth from the shadows to prey upon humanity once more. Those who encounter an alien are unlikely to survive. As our most accurate statistics indicate, 1 in every 3 alien species has a weapon built into their biophysiology. They are inherently violent and evil. Without the almighty Spaceking as a guide and protector, the galaxy is a dark and perilous place, rife with danger. Fortunately for humanity, in his eternal wisdom, Spaceking, praise be, has gifted humanity with his warrior legions. These loyal soldiers are tasked with protecting humanity from aliens until Spaceking returns. They are his finest warriors. Like Play-Doh, he molded them, and in the furnace of war he forged them. They are of iron will and discipline. In psychosis he clad them, and with the mightiest weapons they are armed. No foe shall best them in battle. They are the bulwark against the terror, the defenders of humanity. They are his psycho warriors.
Are you sick of AI slop in your content feed? Head over to our Patreon, where we produce accurate lore videos and animations with real passion, and you get to watch our best fan content without ad-break interruptions. Praise be to Spaceking.
Their bodies are genetically modified to physical perfection. Made in the image of Spaceking, they are blessed with extreme muscularity, and their height often touches just over 9 feet. Their body mass is several times larger than even the most physically gifted natural human. Even without armor, the Psycho Warriors are an imposing sight to behold. This perfection is obtained and secured through the implementation of the Holy Globules, an ancient technology some say was invented by Spaceking himself for this very purpose. These sacred orbs contain the unique genetic code and memories of each warrior, allowing them to be reborn eternally as long as the globules remain intact. Whenever a Psycho Warrior is slain, a Medicae will attempt to reclaim his holy globules with a device called the Globulus. The sacred duty and the safekeeping of the device is entrusted only to the Medicae. Although pretty much identical in stature and armor, they are not Psycho Warriors, but actually free agents assigned to different legions. Although often voluntarily fighting side by side with their chosen squad, they are not obliged to enter the front lines and are granted the freedom to choose who they will assist. The special medical personnel is trained by the institution of the Sanctum Globulari, where they undergo extensive education on how to handle holy globules with the delicate care and deference they require. Only after their training is complete do they receive a license to operate. When a Psycho Warrior is mortally wounded, the Medicae uses special codes to authorize the opening of his extra protective crotch armor. This grants him direct access to the warrior's globules, whereafter they will be extracted with a strong suction and directly stored into the device until the opportunity to revive the warrior has arrived. It occasionally happens that this procedure is hindered by a sacred membrum obstruction. The scholars of the Sanctum Globulari have developed a method to resolve this. The Medicae uses his fingers to perform a delicate yet religious pinch around the tip of the sacred member and lift it out of the way so the globulous device can complete the important extraction unhindered. The revival process is not without its grim cost, however. When the physical body of a psycho-warrior is killed, a new host for the globules will have to be attained. For this purpose, young boys are recruited into the legions. They do not require any training, however, since all these psycho-warriors' traits and memories are genetically stored. Upon insertion of the globules, their bodies will be immediately transformed into a full-fledged warrior ready for battle. As death is a frequent occurrence in the galactic war for humanity's survival, legions will often keep a large number of boys in reserve until they are required for this procedure. Although it is considered an honor to be picked as an applicant, the young boy's individuality is erased in order to revive the psycho-warrior. Their sacrifice is crucial to keep the legions operating at full strength throughout their combat operations in hazardous war zones. The necessary supplies of boys are acquired through so-called recruitment drives. These are essentially nothing more than raids of human-inhabited worlds, with the only goal to gather as many boys as possible. During a recruitment drive, the young boys are callously and often violently abducted from their homes, after which they will be transported through long tubes directly to the psycho-warrior ships in lower orbit. Some legions are so competent in this process that they become prolific boy traders, storing copious amounts of aspirants on their ships that can be bartered with other legions who are in need of extra boys. Unfortunately, in the often chaotic process of boy snatching, legions sometimes accidentally recruit the sons of important grimlords, which causes diplomatic issues. Seeing that females are physiologically and genetically incompatible with the globules insertion process, and consequently useless in the revival process, it is perhaps surprising that during these recruitment drives, psycho-warriors also capture little girls. But instead of bringing these back to their ships, they are disposed of by throwing them into active volcanoes. The brutal experience of a recruitment drive hitting a world must surely be traumatic for the aspirants and their families, but it is a necessary sacrifice humanity has to endure to ensure the continued existence of their protectorate legions. Perhaps one explanation for their savage antics is that psycho-warriors need to seek constant stimulation. Without it, their globules will simply start to shut down. If the understimulation goes on long enough, the globules can go into a form of stasis that can even result in death. Because of this, it is often said that not aliens, but boredom are a psycho-warrior's greatest enemy. In the unfortunate event that the globules are severely damaged or even destroyed, there is nothing the Medicae can do to bring the fallen psycho-warrior back to life. It is thus of utmost importance that they are handled with extreme care. A good Medicae will not risk his own life needlessly, and would prioritize the retrieval of the globules at all cost. The survival of the squad is literally in his hands, and the others trust him with their life. The transformation is not complete without the armoring process. After the warrior's memories are sanctified through neuro-pilgrimage, the psycho-armor can be mounted. His body will be fully enclosed in a metal container, molding the protective suit perfectly to the warrior's muscular physique. All body parts from head to toe are then covered in thick layers of armored plate. Many legions have their own variants. They proudly wear their own colors, symbols, and variations in helmet and chestplate design. However, overall the armors are comparable and provide a similar level of protection. The spherical pauldrons are several inches thick, providing more than capable impact resistance while preserving range of motion of the arms. The thick dome-shaped helmet is designed to glance off blows from every angle. The visor grill can be worn closed or open, allowing the warrior to reveal their face if need be. Some legions, like the Beholders, see no reason to ever expose their face. They have chosen to bolt their helmets to their armor as a sign of their eternal and faithful service to Spaceking. The back of the suit has jet propellant capabilities that allows acceleration to incredible speed within seconds. The left vambrace houses a control system that allows digital communication and other crucial control functions. A concealed armor panel can be flipped up to gain access to it. Most importantly, the crotch plate is reinforced with an extra strong material to provide even better resistance than the rest of the armor, in order to ensure maximum protection of the holy globules. All of this is powered by a set of compact battery cells worn on their back that can easily be swapped out when in need of replacement. As you may have come to understand by now, these high-tech suits are an absolute marvel of engineering. They are almost certainly derived from the one worn by Spaceking himself. Because of this, only his gene-enhanced Psycho Warrior sons are able to wear it. As formidable as their panoply is, a Psycho Warrior's weapons are even more powerful. Most Legion's weapon of choice is the trusted Psycho Blaster. This weapon shoots powerful pink lasers capable of generating incredibly deadly beams that can penetrate even Psycho armor with a single shot. Rumor has it that many legions are looking for ways to augment the color of these lasers, but common wisdom indicates that if Spaceking intended them to have different color lasers, he would have already provided his sons with those. Amongst the most Puritan of legions, any attempts of replacing their standard pink lasers is considered a vile and wicked heresy. Their arsenal doesn't stop there. The Psychoblast has a pistol variant that can be wielded in one hand, keeping the other hand free to carry even more weapons and equipment. A heavy 4-barreled version of the Psychoblaster is capable of delivering devastating amounts of firepower. Alternatively, some legions like the Beholders predominantly equip their troops with the pump-action Psycho shotguns instead. A Psycho Warrior can choose from a wide variety of close-quarter weapons. Most notably amongst these is the Power Sword. Upon activation, the hilt extrudes a solid energetic blade capable of piercing almost anything it comes into contact with. The smaller, but just as deadly variant of this weapon is the Combat Knife. This is the primary melee weapon of the Medicae, since they do not have the proper combat training to handle large blades. Psycho warriors that focus on melee combat tend to discard their blasters and will go into combat dual-wielding combat axes. A cause for envy amongst all close-quarter combat enthusiasts is the Hate Mace. This formidable blunt damage weapon is forged in the Hate Forges of planet Heaven. It is not only an unstoppable menace on the battlefield, but also a sentient entity in its own right that can offer advice and moral support to its wielder. Fueled by pure unadulterated hate, honed by a lifelong obsession of statistics, this weapon is a welcome companion to any Psycho Warrior hateful enough to wield it. If the wielder does not meet the Hate Mace's standards, it will retract its spikes and become dead weight. Although it mostly thrives on hatred for aliens, hate of any kind will do. Even self-hatred. This revelation was discovered during the impressive cold-blooded act of genocide performed against the Coagulators Legion by the Medicae Chestnut. During this massacre, he single-handedly clubbed the Coagulators aboard their own flagship, the Blood Eagle, to death with the Hate Mace, earning him the rank of honorary Psycho Warrior amongst his squad. Legions are further equipped with a wide variety of vehicles that offer firepower and transportation. First and foremost amongst these are their spaceships. These formidable ships are their mobile base of operation, providing full-fledged living quarters to the Psycho Warriors on board. They allow the legions to travel between the galaxy at high speeds, and bring all their war equipment with them. Most squads have their own smaller aircraft that can operate both in space and atmosphere, offering versatile transportation during their varied missions. If authorized to do so, Psycho Warriors may choose to deploy into combat through the use of drop pods instead. These drop pods are launched directly from their spaceships and will bring a squad straight down to a planet's surface at high speeds, allowing their enemies minimal time to respond. This method is preferred in active combat zones where aircraft would be considered too fragile to operate, or simply for the dramatic effect the impact of its landing provides, as almost all Psycho Warriors agree that drop pods are the most badass way to arrive on a planet. A wide array of ground vehicles significantly widen the Psycho Warriors' options on the battlefield. Their tanks are able to deliver extra firepower and provide armored transport, while for swift operations they rely on the unmatched speed of their motorbikes. Foremost amongst the formidable additions to the Legion's power is the Titan. These huge behemoths tower over the battlefield, sometimes almost as tall as a building. They bring ruin to anything standing in its way. Their unmatched firepower can best any foe, and so few dare stand against it. The sound of its battle horn is so devastatingly loud that it can cause those standing close by to be completely disintegrated. The sight of one on the horizon is cause for aliens to flee in panic and for psycho warriors to rejoice, for the mere presence of a single titan is often enough to guarantee victory. Their roster of armaments is further expanded by the inventions of the so-called Imaginators. These nifty and mechanically inclined breed of psycho warriors specialize in the construction of devices and coming up with new inventions. Whereas most warriors often charge mindlessly into battle, Imaginators try to come up with clever solutions that improve their tactical and strategic advantage on the battlefield. They generally wear the symbol of a tower on the crotch plate to distinguish their role within the squad. But this isn't always the case. Their innovative ideas often result in unique, one-of-a-kind devices specifically tailored to needs of the mission at hand, ranging from small tools like a translator device to assist in the interrogation of alien captives, to huge soul cannons capable of breaching a time wizard's protective shield magic. Because these innovations are highly experimental, the effectiveness of them can usually only be truly tested on the battlefield. Unsurprisingly, the results have widely varying rates of success. Oftentimes, it is the simple solutions that provide the most reliable outcomes. This fact leads to a schism between Imaginators. Those who are obsessed with complex technological innovation tend to clash with those who prefer the reliability of simple solutions and let the results speak for themselves. Because of this, it's often best to have only a single Imaginator assigned per squad, as the different approach can lead to serious interpersonal rivalries that could result in them turning their inventions against each other instead. Most psycho warriors are easily impressed by an Imaginator's solutions and rely on them for their tactical ingenuity. Thus, they play an important role by allowing psycho warrior squads to operate effectively in an extremely wide range of missions. These stalwart warrior legions of humanity travel the stars, seeking out and exterminating all aliens in their path to protect the many human worlds loyal to Spaceking. Nothing makes a psycho warrior feel more fulfilled than standing on a literal mountain of alien corpses slain by his own hands. In this seemingly endless task, they find their resolve in the belief that one day Spaceking will return to them. Battle doctrine, culture, and temperament differs wildly between the many different legions. Over time, each legion has developed its own legend for how and when Spaceking will return. Each of their flagships are decorated with unique monuments and elaborate murals dedicated to their creed. Spaceking, praise be his name, is universally depicted in golden armor, wielding a massive serrated sword. Often, but not always, his armor is shown to be equipped with angelic wings that not only look epic, but actually allow his godly physique to fly. Another common depiction of Spaceking is of him wielding a flamethrower to eradicate aliens, while covering his eyes to shield himself against their corrupting influences. Despite these works of art being created by master craftsmen, the countless wondrous statues and paintings depicting Spaceking shall never be enough to fully reflect his true godly magnificence. While most psycho warriors keep to fairly standard doctrine, some legions have turned to outlandishly esoteric cults. One example of such heretical creed are the Coagulators. Although still proclaiming to be loyal and devoted to Spaceking, they make the bizarre claim that he is colluding with aliens. In their misguided beliefs, they have gone as far as to create a blood bond and mind link with an alien broodmother, believing that she will help them find Spaceking and walk the blood trail. Needless to say, naive convictions such as these are a quick path to madness and damnation, as even seemingly docile alien lifeforms cannot be trusted. Collaboration with subversive aliens inevitably leads to nothing but disaster for the afflicted legions. What almost all psycho warriors have in common is their inherent tendency to be violent and headstrong. This ruthless combination allows them to fight on against all odds, but it is one that also results in them making rash decisions and exhibiting irresponsible behaviors. Some would even call them innately immature. But in their defense, if Spaceking intended them to be reasonable, he wouldn't have called them Psycho Warriors. It is probably a good thing that each of their flagships is led by a high command. These massive sentient skulls hold overall command of the fleet and are the voice of reason and authority within the legions. They can assign Psycho Warriors on various missions and will hold them responsible for their actions. Misbehaving warriors can be reprimanded by removing them from their squad, or even being sent over to different legions. Despite their crucial role of keeping a legion in check and providing them with guidance, high commands are not infallible and can also fall to the corrupting influences of vile aliens. Despite the Psycho Warriors' multitude of different legions, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present alien threats from encroaching upon the galactic human empire. Despite the Legion's best efforts, for as long as Spaceking remains missing, humanity will continue to suffer under the alien menace. Not content to simply wait for his return, the Psycho Warriors endeavor to find him. For this very purpose, specialized Reclaimer squads have been formed. These squads are made up of hand-picked Psycho Warriors from different legions, tasked with the retrieval of lost and obscure Spaceking artifacts that may provide clues about his whereabouts. These Reclaimer squads are highly competitive and keep score of their artifact recovery rate. After all, they believe that when Spaceking returns, those who have found the most stuff will be rewarded with his attention. Although they will collaborate with other squads if the necessity arrives, they tend to squabble over the distribution of spoils acquired during the mission. Highly sought-after relics can be the cause of disputes. Some Reclaimers will even go as far as to blackmail other squads into handing over their prized artifacts. Medicaes are particularly vulnerable to this form of extortion, as an official complaint of poor performance could result in the Sanctum Globulari revoking of their license. But even the mere threat of telling on another squad by informing their high command of any minor missteps can be enough to convince a Reclaimer to reluctantly share their loot. Whenever a world is overtaken by aliens, and all attempts to recapture it fail, the final solution to any and all conflict is the deployment of the dreaded Geno Bomb. These thermonuclear payloads are weapons of mass destruction, causing world-shattering explosions that destroy anything with a wide range of detonation. In their wake, sky-high clouds of dust smother a planet's atmosphere. A mere handful of Geno Bombs are usually enough to render a planet completely uninhabitable. Because of this, only high-ranking Psycho Warriors are authorized to call in this apocalyptic support. Geno Bombs are designed to be the weapons of last resort. However, even the slightest military setback is enough to provoke a hot-headed Psycho Warrior into callously deploying them as petty retaliatory or even preliminary strikes, even when there is no strategic necessity to do so. If this unprovoked destruction proves a recurring pattern, High Command can punish them by revoking their access to Geno Bombs. This temporary withdrawal of tactical assets is one of the few effective disciplinary measures High Commands have at their disposal to prevent impatient Psycho Warriors from outright destroying most planets they invade. The most nefarious form of corruption that can plague a legion is not that from aliens, but a sickness that is born within the legion themselves. In the continued absence of Spaceking, weak-minded Psycho Warriors are at risk of becoming disillusioned. Those who express doubt about their purpose and place within the Legion are rightfully ridiculed by their fellow Psycho Warriors, but instead of bolstering their faith, feelings of resentment and rejection can result in some choosing to abandon their brothers and renounce the Legion's heraldry. The sign of a black cross painted on both pauldrons officially marks them as misfits. Whether this symbol is forced upon them or they adopt it voluntarily, it is an unmistakable sign that they have turned their backs on Spaceking. Instead of fighting aliens in his name, these misguided individuals seek only to pursue their own selfish interests. Kicked out of their legion but still longing for a sense of brotherhood, these misfits tend to flock together with other like-minded individuals, forming roaming bands of rejects or even entire communities living outside the light of Spaceking. Most notorious amongst these renegades is a conceitful traitor who calls himself King Space. He offers a temporary safe haven for those who are on the run. Through a facade of charisma and false promises, he tricks other misfits into serving him in an attempt to establish his own kingdom based on interspecies trade and co-mingling. But in Spaceking's name there shall be no rest for the wicked, for once a year during the sacred celebration of Kingsmas, the Psycho Warriors hunt these renegades down and destroy their hideouts, forcing them to relocate and establish their planet of misfits elsewhere. A war priest will organize special trials to decide who gets to join him on the slay team that goes on the annual Purging mission. Ultra-realistic training simulations test which Psycho Warriors are most qualified. They are examined for their ability to detect different kinds of heresy, and most importantly on their commitment to act accordingly. After the candidates for the slay team are selected, they prepare their munitions with special messages of hate and load them onto their ships. On the day of Kingsmas itself, their vengeance is delivered to despicable heretics across the galaxy. Unfortunately, during this time of the year, the void is plagued with space blizzards that interfere with navigation systems that can severely hinder travel. To the dismay of many, this has sometimes even caused the Kingsmas raids to be cancelled, regrettably leaving the Misfits' faithless antics to go unpunished. But even those loyal to the cause can be brought to corruption. A nefarious corrupting influence that plagues many legions is the siren call of psycho boobies. Only those pure of purpose are able to resist their allure completely. For those who are weak-willed, the perverted interest may start out fairly innocuous, but can quickly spiral into a full-fledged obsession and eventually addiction. In particular, the warriors from the Flame of Spaceking Legion are known to be exceptionally vulnerable to this seduction. This insatiable appetite is most dangerous if it inflicts an Imaginator, for they may be compelled to abuse their expertise with technology in wicked attempts to satisfy their perversions. The most depraved amongst them all will even go as far as to try and create the most egregious heresy of all, a female psycho warrior. Such foolish inclusion would irreversibly ruin the sacred bond of brotherhood amongst the legions. Spaceking was wise enough to ensure that there was no room for doubt about how such a transgression must be dealt with. Once the creation of a female psycho warrior has been reported, a galaxy-wide warning signal is sent out that summons all psycho warriors to eradicate the abomination. For this very purpose, all suits of Psycho Warrior armor are equipped with an alarm system of invasive flashing red lights and warning sounds. Once the alarm is activated, they know that it can only mean one thing: an unforgivable act of heresy has occurred. The perpetrator must be hunted down, and the heresy stamped out immediately. It compels all Psycho Warriors across the galaxy to immediately stop what they're doing and rendezvous to a single location to assist in the purge. Vile desecrations such as these warrant the destruction of entire planets. For the pernicious taint that drives Psycho Warriors to such madness must be destroyed at the very roots to prevent it from spreading. Despite these drastic measures, the clandestine distribution of Psycho Boobies content remains a corrupting influence that is proven difficult to curtail. Despite all trials and tribulations thrown against them, the brave Psycho Warriors endure. Neither threat from within or without shall ever manage to break their spirit, for the defenders of humanity will be stalwart in their duty until the day Spaceking returns to them, and when he does, they will continue to serve at his side with pride. Until their glorious reunion with the master of mankind, relics, murals, and artifacts are all the Psycho Warriors have to soothe their loss. For now, the suns faithfully await his return. Praise be to Spaceking.